On today's primetime local news, the city is asking residents to watch what they put in their green bins as the number of contaminated loads grow. And the Wainwright Stampede grounds are busy for another weekend of CPCA racing. Plus, the second annual Filipino Festival takes over Bud Miller.
Prime time local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Good evening, I'm Jace Mackey. Thank you for joining us. An investigation is underway following a partial train derailment in Lloydminster yesterday. 2 Canadian Pacific Railway engines derailed at slow speeds on the tracks running along 52nd Street between 40th and 50th Avenues. A statement from CP says the locomotives remained upright and one fuel tank was damaged, resulting in the spill of diesel. Environmental crews responded to clean it up and no one was injured. The city's fire and emergency management teams were dispatched to help out. A cause is not yet known and the investigation is ongoing. Mayor Albers visited the city's contractor in garbage organics and the Blue Bag program earlier this morning. GFL Environmental has over 8,000 multifamily homes participating in their curbside collection program since 2013. But now some obstacles have come up. Here's our Shelby Clark with the details.
What we're running into is some serious challenges with people not following the rules around the organics.
Since April 2013, the curbside program has diverted over 30,000 tons of waste from the Lloydminster landfill. With some residents not following the rules, the wrong items become contaminated organics and are sent to the landfill.
Yeah, just pure domestic garbage, right? Oh, milk jug, ooh-wee. We're finding everything from used motor oil filters to engines to batteries. The list is from almost A to Z, and there's a huge cost to the taxpayers. I don't think people realize that those costs all add up that are already budgeted in are not budgeted, and this is causing us a great deal of problem.
Residents could possibly have their garbage and utility rates increase from this issue. Organics being disposed improperly causes extra expenses with the city's landfill by not using their compost bins.
Basically, we've already spent $110,000 that was not budgeted dealing with this issue. There's about 500 tons of material that have gone to the landfill. So that's 500 more tons of space taken up that shouldn't be taken up, should be in a compostable site and being worked rather than being put in a landfill.
Besides the increase in cost, these issues are not doing the environment any favors.
Tin can, metal recycling, blue bin, blue bag.
More pills. Plastics.
The city is urging people to follow the rules and use compost bags for the green bins rather than garbage bags. Residents can check out the city's website page for more information on what items should go where.
There are compostable bags, which are fine to be on this side, but we've got to get away from all the other items that are truly garbage or recyclable from that perspective, be it, like I say, oil filters, we've got clothing, we've got gym bags, we've got shoes, you name it, and that's not where the compost bin is not designed for that. And as I said before, at the end of the day, this will cost the consumer, every resident in this city, more money if we don't get a handle on this now, folks. So we're asking for your help today.
For Primetime Local News, I'm Shelby Clark.
The second Filipino Festival took place over the weekend, showcasing the Filipino culture within the border city. Abby St. John has more.
The festival was a way for the community to come together and celebrate through food, dance, and so much more. It was started after being isolated during the pandemic.
After COVID restrictions were lifted, we decided, okay, probably it's high time for us to gather again as one community.
We have so many things that are happening right now. We have the programs for the kids, we have the programs for the adult as well. We have vendors, we have dances, we have bands until in the evening.
A lot of the vendors that took part in the event are already members of the Filipino community and jumped at the chance to participate after attending last year.
Regardless how busy they are, they took time from their busy schedule and help out organizing either one of the committees or being one of the sponsors or donors or being one of the participating groups or churches or associations or one of the groups who are providing entertainment through dances and songs.
The plan is to continue to grow the festival as this year was already bigger than the first year.
Like more people are able to support this celebration, this festival. So from 7 vendors last year, we do have 16 right now. From our diamond sponsors, we do have 3 right now against 1 the other year, and it's growing. Like the support of the community, the companies, the agencies, it's so amazing. Yeah, so like maybe next year it will have a great one, and with the support of the community and of those who are able to volunteer their time with us, I guess we will be doing great.
Anybody who would like to participate or sponsor next year's festival can contact the organizers. Abby St. John, Primetime Local News.
And it's time now for us to take a look into the past in this week's edition of Retrospect. Starting things off this week, in 1994, Lloydminster residents rallied to open the outdoor pool for the summer season.
The pool has in fact been closed, and we're here tonight to try to convince City Council on reopening the pool.
About 40 concerned residents turned out at a public meeting last night to convince Lloydminster City Council to reopen the outdoor pool. The city closed the facility this year to save $30,000 in the Parks and Rec budget. But at last night's meeting, citizens were angry they were not informed about the pool's leaky finances before council pulled the plug on the local water hole.
But it's just like he decided, no, there's no way we can keep this pool, so let's just close it. Like, try something.
I really feel that the money that was spent for those ugly border markers should have been put towards that outdoor pool. Lloydminster people want an outdoor pool, and I think we should have it.
Alderman Herb Flieger says the city had always planned to shut down the outdoor pool as soon as the leisure center was completed. For that reason, Flieger says he voted to shut down the pool this year. But after the meeting, his opinion had changed.
They convinced me.
Flieger says his Parks and Recreation Committee will make a recommendation to Monday's council meeting concerning the pool. He won't say what that recommendation will be, but he does say the city will need some help from the public if the pool is reopened.
To keep the mill rate at the same level, we need some help. If people want the facilities, they have to be willing to help.
Mike Green managed to get 800 signatures on a petition calling for council to reopen the pool. He says he hopes the city will find the funds to open the facility for the remainder of the summer. That way, he and other volunteers could have a year to hold fundraisers and raise the money to open and maintain the facility next June.
I think if we open it this summer and we have people made aware on a daily basis that this pool will be closed if this and that isn't done, I think that'll really bring focus to the situation.
And country music fans of all ages in 1998 enjoyed a night of tunes at the Border Country Jamboree.
I'm having a lot of fun at the Border Country Jamboree.
Everybody's having a great time. She's close quarters, and it's wonderful. It's fun. People, lots of smiles on their faces, and that's what it's all about.
He's going for a poster already. It would take more than a little rain to damper the spirits of these country music fans. People were shaking it all night long at the Border Country Jamboree.
It's one heck of a rock and rollin' party.
In the white tent outside, and once again, I'd like to...
I even managed to catch up with the MCs of the big show for a little insight. Alrighty, we're here with Bryce Tarswell and Damian Lee.
I'm Damien.
That's Bryce. That's Damien. Actually, neither of us were sure what was going on, but as for the fans, they knew exactly who they wanted to see. How come? Is she a good singer though too? Yeah, she's good looking too though.
Yeah, that's the best part.
Who's your favorite singer?
Which one's yours? How come?
Because she has a son that's on my baseball team.
Trisha Conroy? How about Charlie Major?
Yeah. Both of them. Patricia Conroy.
Oh, hey, as you know, listening to Country 108, we play lots of Charlie Major and Patricia Conroy, and they're going to be hitting the stage.
My favorite is Patricia Conroy.
And why is that?
Well, she's a hunk of burning love as far as I'm concerned.
Ladies and gentlemen, sunset recording artist, the lovely, the talented Patricia Conroy.
People who have seen our show before know that it's a very high energy show. Basically, you know, we've been playing these songs a lot, so the crowd is what really brings it to life. I've got enough energy for as many people out there as want to have a good time, so I'm ready for it.
But hold on, there's another major piece of business we have to deal with.
Will you please help me in welcoming BMG music recording artist, the man, Charlie Major!
Generally try and, entertain people. I mean, that's what we come for, and, rock them out a bit and, do the best that we can. Every night we give 150%. Hope the people walk away feeling they got their money's worth. That's what is real important to us.
This has been our look back at This Week in Retrospect.
Retrospect this week is brought to you by Webb's Ford. Worth your while to drive the extra mile. Webb's Ford in Vermilion.
As we move to sports now, the CPCA's third show took place this past weekend in Wainwright. Our Thomas Wildman has more on the results of the races.
All sounds of the championship Sunday at the Wainwright Stampede is off.
It was an exciting 3 days at the Wainwright Stampede grounds with 3 high-octane days of chuck wagon racing. While the skies weren't clear on Sunday, the goal was, as drivers and outriders were looking to have the best times and compete to win the show championship. And in the 7th heat, Todd Baptiste captured the best time of the day, winning the day money for the second time of the show, but also was the aggregate winner alongside his outriders Tyler McKenzie and Tegan LaRouche. Baptiste is thankful for all the people that helped him be able to race.
Big shout out to my outriders, Tyler McKenzie coming off retirement. He come back in here this weekend and he got into a championship run with us. And Tegan LaRouche, he's been with me since 2019 and all the championships we ran in. And more importantly, a big shout out to my sponsors here, Sora Oilfield, Harry Martin, and his guys been the best for me. They've been with us now for, I believe, 9 years. It's been a while, and that's the support we need. Ollie's Trailing Post out of Whitewood, Winston Bear out there, he's helped us out a lot too. And, the box sponsors as well. I mean, every one of them counts.
Baptiste is one of the few CPCA drivers that will be heading to the Calgary Stampede for the Rangeland Derby, and he is excited to be on the big stage and dealing with the challenges of a 10-day show.
Calgary's like the Stanley Cup of chuck wagon racing. I mean, in terms of, it's a premier event. 27 of the top drivers will be there. Any one of those guys, any night, can win a day money. Majority of them are coming from the world, so the world guys, we don't really know what they're going to come to the show with. In saying that, we just got to come with our best forward, and we're really pleased with the weekend here. We ran two of our top teams. They both ran every night, so just trying to leg them up, not necessarily they've been exercising, I guess, now since April, the 1st of April. So we put a lot of miles into them in preparation for going to Calgary, and it's going to be tough. Some of the top wagons there, and it's just a little bit harder to gauge, with the World boys versus the CPCA boys, how everyone's going to turn out. But I think we feel like we're prepared. We're very confident in our teams this year, and just a little bit of luck on the side, and we should be up there.
The next stop on the CPCA tour will be in Onion Lake. For Primetime Local News, I'm Thomas Wildman.
And now it's time for us to check in once again with Shelby Clark, who has another look at weather.
Thanks again so much there, Mr. Jace Mackey. Yes, now taking an extended look at your weather forecast. We will be starting off with our central zone of the provinces. We have warmed it up just slightly from what we have been sitting at last week when we kind of ended things off. But, starting off this new week, we are seeing those mid-20s, and we're probably going to see it warm up from there, start to get into those scorching temperatures as we go on through the week. On our Alberta side, we have, for the most part, most are just sitting at 25 to 26 degrees. Then we have Red Deer just at 23, and also up in Athabasca at 23 as well. So we are looking quite warm in most of these areas. Going over to our Saskatchewan side now, they are slightly matching with us with those conditions. Some looking slightly cooler with that 21 and 22 for Prince Albert and over in Melfort. And then we start to warm it up from there. 23 in Meadow Lake, while the Saskatoon and North Battleford at 24 and 25. So for the most part, we all seem to be just looking at those mid-20s. Going over to our northern zone now, they have warmed it up, and they are actually matching with us more in our central area. Usually I have been seeing those teens temperatures last week, but now they are starting off this week at past that 20-degree mark. 20 degrees now in Wolston Lake while we start to warm it up from there. 21 and 22 in most spots on this side, and then up in Uranium City and Stony Rapids, we have 23 and 25 as they are looking at the warmest conditions. Going back over to Alberta side here, they have warmed it up quite a bit, and they are even getting closer to that 30-degree mark. We have Fort Chipewyan that's slightly lacking compared to the rest of these spots at 19 degrees. And then we have 21, 22 for Fort McMurray and down in Slave Lake, and then we start to hit those mid-20s. 25 in High Level, and then Peace River and Grand Prairie at 26, and now 27 even in Peace River. And going over to our southern zone, they are looking slightly warmer, and they're probably seeing probably the warmest conditions compared to our Alberta side in both our central and our northern zone. Banff is starting to warm it up, still continuing that warm streak at 19, so they are not quite hitting that 20-degree mark just yet, of course, after those wild conditions last week. But, they are starting to match with us slightly more and more as they are starting to warm it up. 23 degrees in Calgary, while it is 26 in both Coronation and Lethbridge, and down in Medicine Hat just at 28, as they are just a couple degrees off from that 30-degree mark. And going over to our Saskatchewan side here in our southern zone, they are looking at us quite warm as what we would expect, especially last week as they were looking at those scorchers from time to time and seeing probably the warmest conditions compared to our central and our northern zone. Now they are matching with us a bit more, just sitting at those mid-20s. Most spots are just sitting at 25, and then we have 26 in Yorkton as they are looking at the warmest condition on this side. Swift Current is slightly cooler at 22, and then the coolest condition there in Estevan at 17 degrees. So Estevan has dropped quite a bit compared to what they have been seeing last week. But now as we look at some overnight evening lows on this list in our surrounding areas, we are going to be seeing quite a warm night tonight for most of these spots as we start off this new week. We expected to see, nice warm daytime highs throughout this week in most of these areas, but of course those evening lows start to warm it up as well. And we are going to be seeing those double digits starting off already for our first night. A low of 13 for Bonnyville and Provost, and the rest are going to be expecting that low of 14 in Meadow Lake, Isla Cross, and Paradise Hill. So be prepared. We are expecting a warm evening tonight, and some of these areas are also expecting a high chance of some showers later on in the evening and a storm early on in Meadow Lake tonight. So just be prepared, and hopefully we will be seeing that precipitation in most of these areas to kind of help with this dry heat. Looking at our hourly forecast for our Tuesday here in the border city, we are going to be warming it up slightly from what we even saw today, starting off with around 15, 18 degrees right off in the morning. And as we go on through the day, our daytime high around mid-afternoon, we will be hitting that 25-degree mark. So we won't be cooling down by too much, because once we go past that, we will be looking at that 26 once again on Wednesday. So we will be continuing that warm streak and then hitting those scorchers, 28 and 30 for Thursday and Friday. Please make sure to have your sunscreen ready, lots of water, staying hydrated. I always say safety is top priority, finding shade when needed, and we will be seeing those warm conditions continue on past the weekend into next week. And that's all I have for now. RJ Smacky, we'll have our news coming up after the break.
I'm happy to be joined on Primetime Local News today by Dr. Julian Maha, who is the co-founder of Culture City. Dr. Maha, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, the reason we're speaking to you is because you guys are a partner with the Lloyd X here for our upcoming fair. We'll get into that in a bit, but first of all, can you start out by telling me exactly what Culture City is?
Yeah, for sure. So Culture City is the nation's leading nonprofit. I guess I have to digress. Not nation, since here in Canada, we are based in the US, but we have a strong base in Canada as well. So I'd say the continent's leading nonprofit on invisible disabilities and acceptance and inclusion for those with sensory needs. We strive to make public events, spaces more accepting, accommodating, and accessible to individuals that have invisible disabilities like PTSD, autism, dementia, strokes, things of that nature, so that they can come experience all the wonderful things that we as a society get to experience, but sometimes take for granted.
Now, we have an event coming up here in Lloydminster, and the Lloyd Ag and X Society have partnered with Culture City for it. It's basically a fair, and they're associated with fairs, as you are well aware, lots of lights and sounds and lots of noise. So in partnering with Culture City, what then does that change for people that have these sensory issues when they want to attend the fair?
I think the biggest thing is accessibility, right? Which is kind of a strange thing, because I read a quote recently, and the quote really kind of sums this up. Accessible doesn't mean a wheelchair ramp. Because when you look at disability, most of us, when we think about disability, we think of someone with a physical disability. But the stats really show that the majority of people with disabilities have invisible disabilities. What that means is that they look, like you and I, but potentially they might have a disability that hinders or makes them experience the world in a very different way. For instance, lights, sounds, crowds, smells, things of the nature that we might take for granted and not care about, for them are not only overwhelming, but also sometimes physically painful. So for these individuals, coming to a fair like yours might be very, very challenging, because they are very worried on how they physiologically might react to something there. And then after that would be, how would they be seen by, the community around them? Would they be judged as, misbehaving or having a substance issue, things of that nature? So by making the fair sensory inclusive, you're allowing this population of individuals to feel part of the community again, feel accepted, feel included, so that they can experience this amazing event.
So by partnering with your group, now people who come to the fair that have these issues, first of all, there's an app you can download, but secondly, there will be things like noise canceling headphones available for them. And when they have that, and when they have the app, how does the app help them out?
Yeah, a combination. So the app obviously helps them out, because they can actually prepare what to expect when they go into an app to the fair. So in our app, there's something called a social story, and what that means is that you can actually look at the social story, and it'll tell you, hey, today I'm going to the fair. At the fair, I'm going to have to expect to, go through security for what, this is what I'm going to do. After that, I can go get a sensory bag at this location. What the sensory bag occurs, what are the attractions in the fair that potentially might be overwhelming. So those are all the information that will be given to you, so that you can prepare before you get to the fair. And then, as you mentioned as well, you have the sensory bags that have noise canceling headphones and other fidget tools. But the biggest thing too is that a lot of the individuals in the fair that are working the fair have also been trained with our training. So they are a bit more cognizant on what sensory needs are, what invisible disabilities are, why they should be empathetic about it and care about it. But then on top of that, what to do to assist someone if they are going through that overload spell and they need further assistance.
Wow, this is just an incredible program. And as you said, unfortunately, there is that segment of people who have these disabilities that are often overlooked. So, first of all, thank you so much for developing this program and being involved in it. But if there are people who are looking for more information, either on what to expect or just even more information on your organization, how do they find you?
Yeah, I think a combination. I think for someone going to the fair, they can reach out to the fair directly, or they can always shoot us an email at support@culturecity.org. And that's Culture City spelled with a K, or they can come to our website, which is www.culturecity.org. So that's KULTURECITY.org.
Well, Dr. Moha, thank you so much. It has been a pleasure to speak with you today. And like I said, we really appreciate everything that you and your organization have been doing to help people. This is just going to make the fair so much greater for everybody who can attend and everybody can feel included. So thank you once again for joining me today.
Oh, you're so welcome. As a transplanted Canadian to the US, I'm so happy that you are a part of this movement and you understand that, you want to open up not only the fair, but also your city to all the, these amazing individuals and give them an opportunity to be part of the community again.
Thank you so much.